There we go. Keep that going. Start clapping, cheering and whooping for Monty Alcock.
Hello. Just wanted to start a timer there, so I've got some idea about how long I'm rambling for. Louder? That's rare that someone asked me for that, so we'll see how this goes. All right, yeah, my name is Martin Alcock. I am here to talk to you about immersive technology. I think it's really cool, so I'm just going to sort of get into it now. I was assured that pressing up on this would make it go. Down. There we go. So, about me. Oh, come on. How? Oh. I work in tech, believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, you could probably guess that looking at me. But yeah, I work in tech. I work for a tech consultancy company in Sheffield called Razer. I've worked on a number of immersive technology projects. One of them won an award from Design Week magazine. I'm co-organiser of the Immerse Sheffield meetup, which is currently in hiatus, but we have got plans to get it going again. And I am recently a father to a 7-week-old baby girl. Thank you, thank you. So if I lose my thread during this, that's my excuse this time. So what's immersive tech? I'm sure quite a few people know this, like on sale end of the Sheffield Digital Week, but we'll go anyway. So if we imagine that there's a bit of a spectrum of this, on one end we've got something that's completely immersive, and on the other one end we've got not immersive at all. It's going from one end to the other. Not immersive at all, we've got 2D display, nothing. Then we've got augmented reality, and then beyond that we've got mixed reality, and then right at the end we've got virtual reality that's completely immersive. So as an example of like the products we're talking about here, virtual reality we've got like the Quest, HTC Vive, stuff like that, completely cut off from the outside world. Then mixed reality we've got stuff like the Microsoft HoloLens, which is crazy. It like displays holograms in front of you, and they sit in the room, and the machine works out which room it's in and places them where you left them. It's kind of mental. Augmented reality, you've got stuff like, well, your phones, tablets. It's probably what most people have got familiarization with. And then 2D displays, we've got monitors. So in terms of what kind of stuff we're talking about, like applications and stuff, on one end we've got stuff like Snapchat filters. So they are technically augmented reality, like, you know, it does something to your face. I wouldn't call it particularly immersive. We've got something like Pokemon Go, where it's just showing a model of the Pokemon in front of the video of whatever you're looking at. You can point them in the sky, they'll just have a Bulbasaur floating around in space. True augmented reality and mixed reality, you've got stuff like Google Maps augmented reality, that you can hold your phone up and it'll show you the direction that you're supposed to go, and it knows where you are, it can recognize the street around you, and it will point in the right direction you want to go. And then over in virtual reality, there's still like a small spectrum within that. You've got stuff like Beat Saber, so it's immersed, you're completely immersed in it, but it's a little bit it's a sort of crazy disco world, not particularly believable. If it was, it'd be nightmarish. And then you've got something right at the end like Half-Life Alyx, which is pretty much like the most immersive thing that anyone's ever built. We'll come back to that a little bit later. So why do I think it's cool? Hopefully you'll agree. So it's a brave new world. We're like still exploring how it works. Like we haven't worked out why, like the best way of interacting with stuff. There's lots of people like early on tried to move around by like sort of cast a fishing rod almost, and then you teleport to that spot. Other companies have tried doing stuff where you are somehow like chair bound as part of the narrative to try and like work out how that works. It hacks like one of our most core abilities of perception. Like from day one, like you start understanding the world spatially, and until we had proper immersive technology, we couldn't actually use that to our advantage. So every time you you look at something on a 2D screen, you have to interpret that and then understand it. With immersive tech, you can just intuit it. It just happens in your head. It's an infinite play space. Like all the normal rules don't really apply. You can just have anything happen. It's like possibilities are endless of it. And yeah, it provides unparalleled experiences. You go into the infinite play space. You can mess with scale. You can pretend to be a giant. You can have something tower above you. You can walk across like skyscrapers, fly through the air. You can do anything, and it's way better than like what you might have had with games and stuff in the past. And I did say I worked in tech before. Like the technological hurdles that made this happen are crazy. Just back. There we go. So like to make it all work, we've got like real-time tracking using LiDAR that's working out the distance and range between like your head and the base stations, or now we've got inside-out tracking that's working out. You don't even need the base station. Rendering everything twice, like in HD, 90 times a second, to make it so like per eye you can see it and it doesn't make you feel sick. Like that's crazy. Like every 11 milliseconds, the computer has to calculate all the lights, render like millions of polygons, load all the textures in, do all the stuff with physics, and then display it to your eyes, and then it's gone and it's got to do it again. It's mental. Gyroscope positional tracking. All your controls are all gyroscopes, and they've got like models to like how they relate to your human body. So if you're holding a controller up here, you can work out that your arm's probably in this shape. Real-time motion capture is happening now, so just suits made out with a few points on them. And real-time lip sync is literally like having a phone in front of your face that's capturing your face, and then rendering that into the game engine and like having a character speak using something in real time. Like how? How does anyone work that out? It's crazy. So like applications of immersive tech, like I'm going to go through a few and sort of talk around them a little bit, hopefully. So there's gaming, obviously, like that's been the driver of everything so far. But there's also therapy. There's work as well, and there's art. So there's obviously other applications as well, but these are the ones I'm going to talk about. So in terms of art, this is Rosie Summers. She's based in Leeds, I think. She's a VR artist. She works in a tool called Tilt Brush. The stuff that she produces, she just does it live. She'll just stand in front of you and start drawing something in virtual space. And sort of stuff that she produces is crazy. Like she's done this great work with about the World Cup, where it starts off and you're looking at some girls playing football on some like field somewhere, and then you can pick up the football and make it massive and put it on your head, and then inside the football there's a whole stadium where she's scoring the winning goal at the World Cup. And it's like that sense of scale that you can't do in any other medium. It's just incredible, and just the speed that she works with. So this is an AR application made by a Sheffield company called Universal Everything. It's just fun kind of toy, really. You like point it around your room. You can make flowers and spikes and all this kind of stuff appear around you. Universal Everything, a very highly regarded company. Like they're working globally, working with lots of different like advertising agents and stuff like that. This is a project called Flood, again made by a company in Sheffield called Metaverse. This is a culmination of a bunch of different technologies that all come together. So what you can see here with the actor's face lit up, that's real-time lip syncing. when you go into this experience, you have the headset on, but you can see these two actors in real-time 3D graphics, and the whole world's changing around you. They start off with doing this dance, and they like get bigger as it's happening, and they're all made out of water, and the water's crashing over you, and it's just something you can't have in any other format. Like, it's impossible. And all of the setup, they've got like the face tracking, they've got the motion tracking down here, there's all these trackers around the room. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it costs thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to get this all set up. But this, yeah, it costs thousands of pounds to do it, but you know, a few years ago this would have cost millions of pounds. And the barriers to entry are getting lower and lower. There's some platforms now where you can basically record a video and that will work out, like you're dancing around, will work out and turn it into 3D animation. Barriers to entry are getting lower. So this is one I've worked on with Metaverse again. So this is for the Sheffield Children's Hospital. It's used in their treatment rooms and their burn treatment rooms. So the idea was that, like, children, when they're getting the like bandages changed or some sort of treatment happening, they're upset, they're getting distracted, it's obviously not a particularly pleasant experience for them. So what we made was a experience where they are sort of like a bed knobs and broomsticks kind of scenario, where they are transported into this magical world. Like, they get the iPad, it comes off the wall, and like the room fills up with water, and then these penguins float in on icebergs, and they can pick up the penguins and they sort of ragdoll around, and they can throw them into the water and then like feed them fish, and the penguins get fat and they swim off, and then a big octopus comes out and they can do a ring toss game with the octopus. It's just fun. It really works, and like the feedback we got from the hospital was fantastic, that, you know, the kids didn't want to have their bandages changed, but suddenly they don't want to leave the room, and they've had a great time, and it's been a really pleasant experience for them. And I don't think that would have been possible with any other kind of technology again. Another one, oh no, that's the wrong slide. Did I do? Oh, crap. Bollocks. Okay. There's another one at the Sheffield Children's Hospital that's made by a lecturer called Ivan Phelan that works at Sheffield Hallam. So he's worked a lot with them. He worked in Unreal Engine, and the sort of applications he's done are brilliant. Like, there's one where you have to climb a tower, and the problem for like burn patients in children's hospitals is that they don't want to do the stretches. They don't want to stretch the skin out because it hurts, it's unpleasant. But if you make it into a fun game where you've got to climb a tower, suddenly they're into it, and they'll be willing to like climb up the tower. Another one is a like archery game, and they've got to like reach behind them to get to get an arrow out of the quiver, and then fire it, and they have a good time with that. But things like these kids they're in pain, they don't want to do it, so they'll try and like game it to like not have to reach so far. But because it's in virtual reality, they can just like parametrically change the height of the quiver on their back to force them to reach further back to get that stretch in. And it's genius. It's just so good. It's so good. This should say work. This is made by one of the co-organisers of Immersive Sheffield, Laura Smith. Unfortunately, it was an idea ahead of its time, and I think the world has failed it. It's called Alia, and it's like data visualization in VR, and I know it doesn't sound sexy, but it's incredible. Like, you can do stuff where you get a collection of data and you can spread it around the room, and then based on like the size and the bigness of the pile and stuff like that, you can just intuit stuff in a way that you would spend ages looking at a graph and trying to understand the numbers that are like speaking underneath it. You could just look at it and go, oh yeah, there's a problem there. And it's just like, that's what I was talking about when sort of saying about hacking your abilities of perception. There is Lightworks, based in Sheffield as well. They have been acquired by Siemens. They do like super, super high-end visualizations, renders, stuff like that. They work with like luxury car companies, so they're like iteration on their designing. That loop's got much, much, much tighter, so they can just like design something in CAD, have it rendered out to the application, and have people like sit and have a look around the car without like having to build the entire car. It means they can iterate way, way faster. There's also this therapy in the corner. How many slides have we got of this? Oh, there's Ivan's. There we go. Never mind. It looks incredible. Like it's just a beautiful game as well. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so gaming. Two I mentioned before was Beat Saber. So I promise you, you will not look as cool as this woman playing Beat Saber. You will look like a sweaty mess, and you'll be bad at it. It's like Dance Dance Revolution or Parappa the Rapper if you're that old. You swing the lightsabers around, and you've got to do it in time with the music, and you're dancing, and it's dead cool. It's really hard as well. It's a really fun bit of UI. Like the way it all works is like a beautiful game. You feel cool while you're doing it. The other one was Half-Life Alyx. So this is when I was talking about everything happening like every 11 milliseconds, like you look at the visual quality of this, it looks incredible. Like it could be from a movie pretty much, and that's happening every 11 milliseconds. But within this, there's something else. When we're talking about like how you interact with virtual worlds, like if you're familiar with games, you are familiar with like having a HUD. You've got like your bullet counter, your health in the corner, stuff like that. You can't do that in VR, like because there isn't a HUD, there isn't a screen, so to speak. So you have to start building the world around you and having that world be the UI for you. So if you want to check how many bullets are in your gun, you have to pull out the magazine and count them. This is something that's called Diegetic Ui. It comes from diegetic sound, which is something in the movies. So like the equivalent in movies is diegetic sound is the gunshot. Non-diegetic sound is the music going dun dun dun. Like it's what the people in the narrative understand and can see. So Half-Life Alyx is incredible because they've just taken it to the nth degree. Like they have got to the point, there's a bit where you can find some markers and pick them up and start drawing on stuff. Because they've made it so like you can just do anything. Anything you can see, you can pick up. And that's the way that they've dealt with this problem of like immersion. So typically in games, like you will see things that you can interact with because the game maker has made them like flash and made them like interesting to look at. If you want something to be interactive, like immersive, you can't really do that. You've got to like just let people go for it. So they've solved the problem by not solving the problem essentially and just going like all the way with it. So from there, in terms of funding, there's lots of it going around at the moment. There's a lot of interest in doing XR, VR, all that kind of stuff. Few sort of notes. XR Stories is an organisation that is based in Yorkshire and Humber. They are exclusively looking at like developing, promoting XR narrative-led content. They've got a couple of funding things out at the moment, in particular like a funded internship. There's also stuff going on in the wider world. So actually Screen Industries is Yorkshire and Humber as well. But there are opportunities going on. There's money floating around. There's interest. Like this is going to be, it already is big stuff, but it's going to get even bigger. Which brings me on to nightmares. So yeah, everyone's favourite humanoid automaton, Mark Zuckerberg. You probably know that he's tried to coin the word Metaverse. If you follow Immersive Twitter, like I do, everyone is very angry about this. The word Metaverse was existing for quite some time before he turned up. Everyone's very angry about it. Everything I've seen from the Metaverse so far doesn't look all that great. Like their big chat app looks like VR chat that's been around for a number of years already. The reason I'm showing this horrible thing, though, is apart from Beat Saber and Half-Life Alyx, all the stuff that I've shown you today has been made in or around Sheffield. Like, this stuff isn't happening in some abstract location in California. It's happening, like, on your doorstep. And while I wish I could come here and say, the next meetup's going to be the something of whatever, we haven't got that far, but I suggest if you are interested, follow either me or the Immersive Sheffield thing on Twitter, and we will be bringing it back because we know there's a lot of stuff going on and it's really exciting. I hope that I've kind of given you an impression of like how exciting it is and possibilities within it. And that's it. That's all I've got to say.
Master Alcock, everyone, come on, can you do better than that? Master Alcock. Hey, more. There we go.